Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fresh episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. And today we're talking about Vic Mensa. Vic Mensa is a Chicago rapper. He's about 28 years old. He's worked with some other guys like Chance the Rapper, and he's a little more mainstream. And he got some controversy a while back for talking about a particular rapper and how they disrespect women, and he's standing up for women, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, not that standing up for women is blah, 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 because it's not. It's you should stand up for women. In fact, who's left holding the fucking pieces when we fuck up, right? It's women. Moms, aunts, uncles, sisters, girlfriends, wives. So, and they lift us up, so they should be stood up for. But anyway, he unfortunately was in the Washington Dulles airport last week, and he got caught with a bunch of mushrooms. 178 grams of psilocybin mushrooms and 6 grams of gummies. 178 grams of gummies and 6 grams of the shrooms themselves. Now, here's the thing. This is why this is important. Because, first of all, because it happened on airport property, guess what? It's a federal offense. It's not a ton of drugs, so his time isn't going to be huge. But it is a problem because it's a felony. And generally speaking, there aren't any misdemeanor drug cases in federal court. Second of all, one of the things that you look for in a criminal case, like when I get a case that's a search case or, I look for loopholes. And where do the cops screw up? So you're driving down the street and the cops stop you for no reason and they find a dead body in the back of your car. Guess what? If that's an illegal stop, that dead body in your car gets suppressed and they can't use it as evidence because it's a violation of your Fourth Amendment right. But if you had a turn signal that's out and the cop hears some thrashing around in your fucking trunk and it turns out there is somebody in duct tape, and tied up and you've kidnapped somebody, well, because of that turn signal, that's the legitimate purpose for the stop, and all the noise that came out of your trunk was the expansion of the stop. So you have to have something reasonably tailored to the stop or to whatever, okay? Otherwise, generally speaking, warrantless searches are per se a violation of your Fourth Amendment. However, there are exceptions. And one of the exceptions is when you go through airport security, guess what? They have the right to look up your anal cavity. And they do. In fact, I can tell you this, drug traffickers, they hide shit up their ass. They swallow shit. So you don't have the right when you go through an airport to just bring whatever you want because they have an unmitigated right to look through your bag. If you display any kind of other suspicious activity, they can question you further and detain you. You're on airport grounds, and when you are on airport grounds, you have an implied. One of the things that it comes down to the Fourth Amendment is a reasonable expectation of privacy. For example, your own home. That's where you have the highest expectation of privacy. It's your castle. Blah. It's supposed to be protected, and there are very few exceptions to the warrant requirement for your home. But when it comes time to go into the fucking airport, you have zero expectation of privacy. And so when you have drugs stuffed up your ass and a dog comes up and sniffs your ass, guess what? Your pants are coming down, the drugs are coming out, and the handcuffs are going on. So, my heart goes out to this guy. I mean, I'm sure they didn't keep him long. But it is a federal offense, and if you're in a foreign country, it's even worse. So let me tell you something, brothers and sisters out there. When you go to the airport, don't bring fucking drugs. Don't bring firearms. They have a zero tolerance policy. I'll give an example. I had a client who worked at the airport. He was a fireman at the airport, and he was going on a trip. and he forgot his gun in his bag. Well, guess what? He goes through security. They find the gun. It's undeclared. It's a violation of the law. And it's a hard thing. And guess what? He lost his work badge there at the airport. So he had the possibility of losing his job, and that's a 2-year suspension of your security badge. Well, if you're a fireman at the airport, guess what? You can't be on the airport without your security badge. So you got to think, especially in your circumstances, no matter where your circumstances are, whether you're on the street or whether you're on airport property. So I'm driving down the street. I'm thinking I'm a pretty cool guy. I got some shit hanging from my rear view mirror or whatever it is, even an air freshener. And so the cop sees that, some little tiny reason to pull you over. And that gives them all of a sudden, and let's say you're smoking weed now. So, okay, well, I pulled me over for that, and then he smells marijuana. Guess what? You got marijuana in the car, smell of marijuana, that's a reason to toss your car. Oh, guess what? I had a gun under my seat. Now you got marijuana, a gun, and now I got a trip to hotel incarceration. So you got to be real careful with what you're doing and where you're doing it, especially on airport property. So, but, Vic, Mr. Mensa is not going to do a whole lot of time. So now when it comes to the drugs and what kind of exposure Mr. Mensa is looking at, the federal sentencing guidelines are based upon weight, okay? And it says in here that he had 173 grams of gummies and 124 grams of psilocybin capsules and 6 grams of mushrooms. Now, depending upon what he's looking at, I'd say he's looking at somewhere between a level 12 and a level 14, maybe a level 16. So we go to our good book here. And without any prior criminal history, because we don't know what his criminal history is, let's say if it's a level 16, he's looking at 21 to 27 months in prison with 3 points acceptance for responsibility because it's over 14. So that would be down to 12 to 18 months. Like I said, he's not looking at a ton of time. And if he goes to treatment, it's quite possible he could get probation, even in the federal system. So, not the smartest thing to do, but I mean, you're tagged with a felony, but it's also not the worst thing in the world in terms of consequence. So that's what I know about Mr. Mensa. So we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following us on Instagram and Twitter. We got a bunch of new Patreon subscribers since we bonded Mr. Smith out of jail. Ooh, I said his name, but that's pretty generic, so you won't be able to figure out who he is. Anyway, but we're going to continue to do that. So keep us going on Patreon because that money goes to a good cause. And this week we're going to probably do a bunch of episodes. We're going to get busy. So we want you guys to be active, and we really do appreciate everything you guys have said in your comments. And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.